Tonight on Combat Chefs.
Stand out, ease.
I mean, that is inedible. That is stinking.
An inspection of army issue sandwiches
Look at this one. It's egg and ham without the egg.
leaves Major Harry Lomas shell-shocked.
I feel slightly embarrassed that that's going out under our name.
At a Blitz-themed officers' dinner,
Oh my God, now the lights are on.
a blackout in the kitchen as the chefs running for cover.
We're gonna move all the stuff up to the main kitchen.
And Harry dons his chef whites to get back to basics.
Good morning, sir.
OK, good morning. Have you cleaned your nails?
Not yet, sir.
Why not?
Horse Guards Parade, Whitehall. From the building where Wellington once held office, this is the headquarters for all regiments based around London. The man responsible for feeding London District's troops is renowned perfectionist Major Harry Lomas.
As you would expect the Guards to produce their standards when on parade, then I expect my chefs to produce the standards in the kitchen.
In a world of pre-packaged, processed food, Harry's mission is to hold the line and deliver hearty, home-cooked grub.
The clue to this is the word chef, therefore chef. If they're not going to chef, then we might as well get monkeys in there to open packets. In the main, I want it freshly cooked.
One of the busiest and biggest army bases in London is Wellington Barracks, home to the Guards. Today, Sergeant Whiteley and his team of chefs are preparing for one of Major Lomas's routine inspections.
He actually took me through training. He was my company sergeant major, and he used to beast me up and down the stairs and always shouting at me and screaming through his window, "Get here, Whiteley!" Put me in jail twice as well. Yeah. Even though I've done now 18 years in the army, I'm still nervous of that man.
Harry has sent ahead one of his trusty scouts, Warrant Officer Roger Marshall,
Sir Whiteley!
to make sure standards are being maintained.
I've got to come in and make sure the guys know exactly what they're doing. We've got young girls and boys straight out of training here. Some of them probably never seen a piece of fillet steak before, and we haven't got an endless supply of it, so it's got to be right first time.
Lance Corporal Gladstone Nelson is the chef responsible for making the soup du jour, an army staple, tomato soup.
Right, we've got a chef here, says he's making fresh tomato soup.
Yes, sir.
And I said, where's your recipe? I haven't got one because I've done it loads of times before. What do we make fresh tomato soup with?
Onions,
What else?
bacons,
What else?
tomato puree.
What else? What else is missing? I'll give you a clue. They're orange and they're over there.
Carrots.
Is it going to be good?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
If it's not good, who's going to eat all that?
Me, sir?
Good girl.
Okay.
Well done.
In barracks, Harry's combat chefs have to cook quality meals from fresh ingredients on a budget of just £1.75 per day per soldier.
Running a kitchen within the military is pretty much like running a business. All right, we're not in it to make profit, but what we've got to do is make the books balance at the end of the month.
To do that, Harry instills an essential discipline into his chefs by deploying his main weapon, an army cookbook called the Joint Services Publication 404.
The idea, we use the JSP 404, the Bible, the recipe, and the reason we do that, it's a standard, and it's costed so I know how much ingredients to buy in and how much ingredients that we're going to be using. Once they can get that right in the in-barracks feeding, it means that when they go out on exercise and operations, they've got some idea of how to bring this food together.
Is this the bloody dreaded tomato soup being finished off now, is it?
Yes, sir.
How much sugar are you putting in there?
Not a lot, sir.
Not a lot. How much? Handful?
Yeah.
A handful?
Yeah, well,
Tastes like, and you tell me what it tastes of. Honestly.
Honestly, sugar.
Too much.
Too much sugar for definite.
Why has it all gone horribly wrong, this? Because what didn't we do? What did we speak about this morning?
All over recipe.
What did we say?
Recipe.
And what did you say had happened, sir? I promise you it'll be what?
Tasty.
And what is it? Taste of shit. He hasn't weighed out any of the raw ingredients. He's there with a scoop of sugar, just tipping it in. If he'd have got, this morning, a recipe for 50 portions of tomato soup, weighed it out, done exactly what it says on the tin, it'd come out perfect. When Major Lomas comes in the kitchen later on and tastes that soup, there will be hell to pay. He will go absolutely ballistic.
Where's Salt Whiteley? Is it? Salt Whiteley! What's the quantities have we got?
Quantities, we've got £2 of onions, £4 of steak, and £2 of broccoli, sir.
£2 a steak?
£4 of steak, sir.
£4 a steak? There's no more than £4 a steak in there.
But we're only going to use £4, sir. If you have me.
What's that?
That is tomato sauce.
Nothing escapes Harry's eagle eyes.
What is this? What's this?
Soup, sir.
It's what?
Tomato soup.
Tomato soup. Where's the recipe?
I didn't go off the recipe, sir.
What do you mean? Well, how many portions are there?
That was about a good 30 portions, sir.
About? Where do we find the recipe?
The JSP, sir. Maximum.
Right, OK. So why didn't we follow the recipe? I do not do about recipes. The idea of the recipe, OK, it is priced out, costed out, therefore we make the right amount of numbers that we need to go on the hot plate.
Yes, sir.
OK. That doesn't even look like tomato soup, does it? It looks
It
like shit. That's what it looks like.
Yes,
Get me a spoon. You know where that needs to go, don't you?
Yes, sir. We added something.
Where does it need to go?
In the bin, sir.
Right, get in the bin. In the bin. And I want a list of the ingredients you put in there, because I can bill you for that.
Okay, sir.
All right, good?
I wasn't thinking about the recipe itself. I was thinking about, making the soup 100% my way. I thought when they taste it, they would be like, yeah, it's off the hook.
Put the necktie round. Good. And you need to tidy yourself up a bit. All right?
Yes, sir.
You look like you've been on with your ragtag and bobtail.
Yes, sir.
OK?
It's a dressing down for Lance Corporal Nelson, but as the man responsible for the kitchen, it's Sergeant Whiteley who gets it in the neck.
Right, listen, we've got a guy, tomato soup.
Yes, sir.
The trouble is, Sergeant,
Yes, sir.
that's what you need to be doing all the time.
Yes, sir.
Going round checking. I can't understand they're not on recipes. Why are they not using recipes? Is it just to wind me up today? Is it or what?
We do have recipes, sir.
It's a business that we're in. The fact we're in the army, it's taxpayers' money we're dealing with, and therefore it's got to be used properly.
Coming up,
Standards, ease. That is inedible. That is stinking.
a lunchtime shock
Look at this one. It's egg and ham without the egg.
spurs Harry back to the floor.
I can't wait to get out round the units and start kicking some arse.
Good morning, sir.
London District Headquarters in Whitehall. Army catering boss Major Harry Lomas has called a meeting with his management team. As part of his constant mission to ensure standards, today's agenda is an inspection of Army-issue packed lunches prepared by his London District chefs.
All right, let's have a look.
What is this? That's yours, sir.
This is a DIY sandwich.
Oh, DIY some.
But you'll notice there's no knife.
Is there no fucking knife? That is inedible. That is stinking. I'd be quite annoyed if I got that in my pan meal. That's something to dip your bread in.
Absolutely. Bread and dripping.
That is the water from the tomato. In fact, there isn't a packed meal, is there? No. What's this one? Now, you see, this is why I get with them. You know, I mean, that is not a sandwich, is it? No. What's this? Spam and lettuce. Look at this one.
Is it Gala spam?
No, it's
Egg and ham without the egg.
egg and luncheon meat. One side is buttered, the other side isn't.
No.
For a man dedicated to quality fresh produce,
And this is what's actually going out today on a packed meal.
Yes.
an army sandwich of processed cheese and processed ham is a major body blow.
I feel slightly embarrassed that that's going out
See, the
under
thing
our name.
is-
We're looking at standards, and this is not the standard that I'm happy with, and neither are my team, and it's about to be changed. But that's what our job is to keep on top of things like this. I can't wait to get out round the units and start kicking some arse.
Harry comes up with a battle plan to bring his chefs back into line.
I think we need to just touch base with the chefs, and I thought that with the 4 major units we've got, we could actually go back to the floor and therefore go and find out what's actually happening there. So if we all went back to the units as, let's say, shift NCO.
So you're managing the kitchen?
You're managing the kitchen, yeah.
Brilliant.
I really want to drum in the JSP and the recipe.
At Wellington Barracks, Major Lomas leads the charge.
Right, recipe book, armed, JSP 404, ready to rock and roll with the boys?
For the first time in 20 years, Harry dons his chef's whites and returns as kitchen manager. His mission? To get his chefs back to the basics of good old home cooking.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning. Gentlemen, ladies, you got a new shift NCO today, all right?
First up, a chef's inspection parade.
Hans, have you cleaned your nails?
Not yet, sir.
Why not?
I was a bit late this morning.
You was a bit late this morning. Right, well, we need to be a bit earlier.
Yes, sir.
What's your name? Private Davis. Correct, good morning. Nails? Is this a tutu or an apron?
It's apron, sir.
Did you clean your fingernails?
Yes, sir.
You're my tomato soup man, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Good. Have we got soup on today? I'm sure we can get you onto it.
Stand out. Ease.
Today, the chefs are preparing a range of army classics from corned beef hash to spag bol to feed 1,000 territorial army troops.
Right, so pet it.
Harry will be looking to his chefs to cook as much fresh food as they can.
And all I'm doing is just taking them back to the first cooking principles of boiling, baking, stewing, rather than just getting things out of the freezer. The clue is in the name, chef. To have me here, I would imagine, will be a complete nightmare for them.
One person who knows what a nightmare it is to have Harry in the kitchen is Lance Corporal Gladstone Nelson. Harry has tasked him with making the tomato soup again.
Once bitten, twice shy.
But this time, 100 portions of the stuff.
There's no seasoning in there yet. So when I'm seasoning it, then I add a bit of sugar, a little vinegar, salt, pepper.
Failing to add the correct measure of seasoning is where it all went wrong last time.
Have you tasted it?
Not yet, sir.
When are you going to taste it?
And it's seasoning, sir.
Have a taste. But before we do anything, you need to taste it. What do you think?
A little of salt,
It needs a bit of salt and pepper.
yes, sir. A little bit of sugar and a little bit of vinegar.
Okay, can you show me? You do it then. Away we go.
Add too much seasoning, and there's no way of taking it out.
Whoa! Stop. What is that? There's not enough there to kill a mini battalion, isn't there? Are you going to put pepper in there?
Yes, sir.
Right. Stop. Now, what happens, you see, stop. What has happened, see how the pepper is in lumps.
Yes, sir.
Very hard to get rid of them lumps. See it? Unless you break the pepper down. So, and what about sugar? How much are we putting in?
Not a lot, sir.
Not a lot. Okay, is that a measurement? It's a measurement. What, not a lot?
This is about...
This is about?
No, this is...
This is
5
what? Gallons, rats, cats, mice?
It all depends on the quantity, sir.
It does? What? No, how much is in there?
In here?
Yeah. Go and weigh it.
Yeah.
Okay, how many was that?
100 grams, sir.
100 grams. Good. Now, so why I mix the salt and the pepper together because that helps it dissolve. And if we're going to put sugar in as well, the way that I would do it is if you mix all this together, and then from here, put it in so I can control how much I'm putting in. It'll all dissolve a lot better, won't it? Yes. Yeah? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I totally agree, sir.
You totally agree. That's pretty good that you totally agree.
Good coaching. Good coaching.
Taste that and tell me what you think.
Fantastic, sir.
Excellent. That's the correct word.
Fantastic.
It's actually not too bad, is it? Good. Would you eat that?
Yes, sir.
Lance Corporal Nelson thinks his boss could have a future in the kitchen.
I think you can come in the kitchen more often and more regular, like. I mean, you can learn a thing or two. He's got all the experience. What he's got in his head is like 100 times more than what we got, so it's just a learning process.
Cooking for 1,000 troops from scratch is a tall order. But out on operations where supply lines can be unpredictable, knowing how to cook from fresh ingredients is vital.
They are brilliant. Homemade sausage rolls. And you made them this morning. That's good quality, well done. I'm pleased with them. Yeah. Oh, these are the bought-in ones, aren't they? In here we've got, this is the bought-in sausage meat. Of course, there's only about 25% sausage meat. It's full of rusk. Here, nice sausage. You can see the colour. Put some onions in there. Very nice, well done. I'm pleased with that.
Mark Nottingham is one of Harry's London District warrant officers. Today, he's going back to the floor at Combermere Barracks in Windsor to work alongside the chefs at the Household Cavalry Regiment.
We're going to go back to basics. We're going to be cooking fresh, wholesome food from the start. None of your convenience products. Stuff that they possibly, on occasions, have taken out of the freezer opposed to making them homemade. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, how are you? Right, the idea of today is I'm coming back to the floor. It's by no means to annihilate you, it's just to give me an idea of what you're doing on the shop floor. Right, why have you got your apron string like this? No. I want you dressed like me. I don't want any excuses.
Roger, sir.
OK, so let's undo it and let's get dressed properly. Are you happy with that? You're not happy with that, are you?
No, I'm not, sir. Because after I've walked around the kitchen 5 times, it'll look like a bag of tripe.
So, if I can look like this, and I've been walking around like this 10 minutes, there's obviously something wrong with you, isn't there? Say no.
No, there's nothing wrong with me, sir.
Okay, just crack on.
Lance Sergeant Richard Stebbing is the kitchen manager and has just returned from his tour of duty feeding troops in Afghanistan.
They're just Alaska giant crab claws. All I've got in there is just salt water, loads of parsley and loads of lemon. 12 minutes, they come out ready. I'll just brush some either garlic butter or chilli and garlic butter over the top of them. That's how them done.
Based at Fob Price in Helmand Province, he was one of the senior chefs in a team that won a reputation for the best food in operational theatre.
We get plenty of fresh veg and a wide range of frozen meats, so we can do whatever we want, really.
Back in his barracks cookhouse in Windsor, he's not so keen on Warrant Officer Mark Nottingham telling him what to do.
That's a nightmare, isn't it? It's my kitchen. Get out. It's all well and good having the ideas, but they haven't worked in this environment for 10 years, maybe? 8 years? So a lot's changed in 8 years on the shop floor. You know, one of the main things being the ability of some of the younger members of the department. And you can't throw too much at them because you just won't get an end product.
There are those who remain nameless who are a bit challenged by someone coming to the kitchen and taking over their job. And, you know, I don't blame them, to be honest. But pretty much what we're doing today was we're cooking everything fresh. Nothing's going to come out of a packet. And they'll learn from today, and hopefully they'll move on from this and take it forward themselves.
With a busy lunchtime service, the chefs have to prepare enough home-cooked scoff for 160 troops. On the menu are homemade beef burgers, meatballs, and freshly baked pastries. But today's special is a homemade chicken Cornish pasty.
This is going to be our filling for our pasties. We've got sliced potatoes, swede, some nice red onion, bit of parsley in there.
The next job is to wrap the filling in rough puff pastry.
Be generous with the filling.
and crimp the edges.
And then pretty much I'll just bring it around, press down the edges, okay? I'll just cut off the slight excess there. I'll bring it around to show you. And all I do is I put a finger there and bring it around. One in and push it around. And I just keep doing that, holding the top to let the excess air out, and there's my pasty. Going to the freezer and taking out the pasties that they buy in. As you can see, it's completely different. The size, I mean, it looks manufactured, frozen, reproduced meats. And we're going to put these side by side on the hot plate. And then he's going to try and sell pasties to the customers that come along. And let's see which one they go for.
The average age of Army chef recruits is just 18. And for a generation more used to fast food than fresh food, a home-cooked menu is a bit of a challenge.
We don't normally do as many fresh. We only normally do 2 fresh a day. Because they had PT as well this morning. We just haven't really got much prep done.
Okay, T-minus 25 minutes to service. Any problems, anyone? Yes. Right, chef. Tomato sauce, mayonnaise on the base, burger on top, and tomatoes on top of that. So we've got our own burger bun.
As service time approaches, it's all hands on deck to get the homemade dishes onto the hot plate.
Don't do no more than 40.
It's time to see whether Mark's fresh Cornish pasties are more popular than the processed frozen ones.
Huh? Why are you taking that pasty and not that one?
Bigger.
Is it bigger?
A little bit more homemade.
It's homemade.
A little bit more homemade.
So, yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. You prefer homemade pasties rather than something that's been bought in then, obviously?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
More pasties!
More pasties?
The pastry tastes a lot better than the other ones. The ones that get stuck in your throat and that. It's horrible.
Just the flavour of it, I think, yeah. They are better when they're homemade. But then obviously they couldn't homemade everything here for us, would they?
The homemade burgers, meatballs and pasties might have won the squaddies vote, but Lance Sergeant Stebbing has doubts about making everything fresh every day.
I'd love to be able to do this every single day, I really would. But you can't, it's just totally impossible. You know, it's a good, there's people having days off during the week, there's people away sick. You know, sometimes one person would be on the early shift because that's all the manning we've got. So it'd be absolutely ridiculous.
What I try to do today is just show you have the skills and you have the knowledge to actually take that step out of the box and produce something that is a top-class product. Happy? Yeah. Cool, Stebbies? It's about investing your time, because that's what I'm paying you for, not just necessarily your working hours, but outside of the box and training these chefs. And if you can be prepared to invest your time, they will move on a lot faster.
Coming up, during Major Lomas's service...
It's burnt on the bottom, it's caught on the bottom. And we need to get this out.
The kitchen suffers its first casualty.
I'm slightly the old brown stew.
Cavalry Barracks, Hounslow, home to the 2nd Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. Today, the regiment's army chefs are carrying out their refresher training using the operational field catering system.
The chefs we got in London, don't forget, they're soldier chefs. It's just as important that when they deploy in operations that they've got all the catering skills. So to put up the field equipment, to learn how to use the burners, to use how to use operational ration packs. We've got to train to be ready to be deployed at a moment's notice.
Harry's man in West London is Warrant Officer Class 1, Roger Marshall. He's going back to the floor to ensure that the chefs are ready for action.
Couldn't do this bloody quietly, could you? Enemy about.
Field kitchens housed in tents are what chefs rely on to feed troops in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they have just 1 hour to set it up and start cooking.
I mean, it's a bit of the nose now, setting it all up, but once it's up and running, it'll be like a little kitchen out here.
The kitchen consists of hot plates, boilers, and ovens, all powered by a diesel and kerosene mix.
It's all right being the best chef in the world, but if you can't come out here and do this, then you're not worth it. Your salt for anyone. This is where the real crux of the army chef is.
To extract the fumes, flues and ventilation units are fitted.
This could sustain, 300 people for the next 6 months. So,
electricity is supplied by a generator. With the field kitchen ready for action, it's time for the chefs to fire up.
Hopefully it'll be ready. We've got 10 minutes to get all the ovens on, all the grills on, and start cooking.
But can they deliver a fresh, home-cooked menu to feed 60 troops in just under an hour?
Chili con carne rice. Nice. What rice are you doing with that, chef?
Plain rice.
Just a plain rice, sorry.
Well, that's what the GSP 404 says.
In that case, that's what we're doing.
Right, what are we doing, chef?
Roger will be ensuring that the chefs follow Harry's mission statement.
So we're making chili, all right?
Use fresh ingredients, follow the recipe, and no waste. Private Gurung is making the chili.
Is there sugar in there? Is that how the...
GSP 404.
Okay. So where are you from?
Well, family's from Nepal, sir, but I grew up in India.
All right, okay.
Went to school there, and then I was in the States for 6 years.
What did you do out there?
I went to uni, sir.
Doing what?
Economics.
And you're a chef in the army now?
Sir.
Look at all this in here, look, see?
Especially with Credit Crunch, yeah, we need to.
Bloody Credit Crunch, you're right. Especially with Credit Crunch, look. All right?
Sir.
Feed 10 people with that.
Sir.
Okay? So what have you learned today already?
No wasted, sir.
Brilliant. So how much are we making here?
40 portions, sir.
Good. So it's not about 40, it's going to be 40, yeah? Okay? Good. What you got there, chef?
We've got our chili, sir. Chili con carne.
Okay. Chili con carne?
Yeah.
And is that weighed ready to go in?
Sir.
You've weighed that already? Get it all rammed in then. Get it in.
The whole bit, sir?
Yeah, well, if you've weighed it...
Well, I haven't weighed it.
Okay.
It said 25 grams for 10 portions.
Okay.
So I think...
So what does that mean? You the one with the degree in economics. Is that not 100 grams?
No, I didn't complete the degree.
Oh, you didn't complete it now?
Never mind a degree in economics, it's a basic principle of home economics.
Salt? Right, call Francis, we need to have a little chat afterwards. I'll give you a clue what it's about, okay?
Yeah.
It's about recipes and ingredients and not weighing any of it out.
So you didn't do what I told you then?
No, so we need to beat him. What's it for?
To beat me up.
For when?
Whenever you need it to.
Excellent. It actually tastes nice, this does.
Cod Monte Carlo is an officer's mess favourite. Cooking the intricate dish is the most junior chef in the brigade, Private Scott Cousins.
You've got plenty of time, still got about 15 minutes, so don't rush and...
Having poached the cod in milk, the liquid is drained to use in a classic beurre manière sauce.
What's this called? Cook any fish? Liquor. No, close. It's called liquor, cooking liquor, all right? best way is just get the whisk, put a bit on end of whisk, all right? Do you know how to make a roux? The butter melts and then it releases the flour into the liquor, okay? And it actually tastes nicer this way as well. You never made it before, ever?
Seriously, no, I've been here for a couple of months now and I've actually never made it.
How old are you now?
I'm 18.
18?
Yeah, I'm 18. No, I joined 3 days after my 17th birthday, actually.
3 days afterwards? So, look, can you see how it's thick and nice and smooth? And how do we test the consistency? What should it do?
Should coat a spoon or something.
See, it's all in there, isn't it? It's all in there. So just give it a quick dent. And what would you say that is?
It is perfect, that's it.
Perfect. And what's it taste like?
It is really creamy, actually.
Good. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to season it up. Okay, and then now poached eggs on the go. So it's fish, poached egg. Done. Happy? Oh, man overboard. We'll tidy that one up in a minute.
The final touch is de-seeded, skinned and diced concasse tomatoes.
Bit of tomato on each. What are you doing with this? Did you chew this?
No, I just do it like rough dicey sort of.
Rough dice. Should it be rough dice or concasse?
Concasse.
So have we done it right or wrong?
Wrong.
What are you?
Idiot.
No, you're a thing, all right? Okay? There are many of you, but you are the leader, okay? So run it by me again. I'm a thing.
I am a thing. Many of me, but I am a leader.
Okay, happy?
Yeah, I am.
Good. Right, get them out.
Well, for the first time that I'm making it, I actually think it looks pretty good, to be quite honest. But next time it'll be much better.
Happy? Good man, well done, chef.
In just 3 hours, the chefs have built a field kitchen and dished up enough home-cooked grub to feed 60 squaddies.
With today's environment and what's happening with the terrorist climate, who's to say that something happens in London and we don't have to set up a field kitchen in the middle of St James's Palace? When I was in home and the bomb had gone off, we set up a 24-hour kitchen 7 days a week, you know, feeding 1,200 people constantly. And it just shows how quick to react, that they can get out, set the tents up, cook sets and off they go. Imagine extracting 20 civilian chefs and chucking them in there, there'd be all sorts of chaos. Cod man, are we putting our berry on and looking like smart, are we? Good girl. What are you? I mean, the cod Monte Carlo, it's a classic bloody restaurant dish, never mind a green box in the middle of Hounslow with a bloody jets going over dish, you know, so he's put the effort in there, which is really good.
As soon as he told me that I was going to make the cod Monte Carlo, I was just scared, to be quite honest, you know, because I've never done it before. I didn't want to mess up. I truthfully thought I wasn't going to get it out on time. So it's a big thing for Mr. Marshall to come down here and basically help me out with all this sort of stuff.
Getting food out for troops in uncompromising environments under pressure isn't solely down to good cooking. Leadership in the kitchen is essential.
Right, so Petit.
At Wellington Barracks, Major Harry Lomas has turned his attention to the more senior ranks.
Push it to one side, do the egg in here and then mix it in, OK?
As the chefs prepare lunch and dinner to feed over 1,000 Territorial Army soldiers, the pressure is building.
Oh, God. It's all revving up, quarter of an hour, things will start to get revved up. There'll be people jumping up down in a bit.
Today, Lance Sergeant Marcus Pettit is the kitchen manager.
Yes, fine, OK.
Harry will be looking to see how he manages the team.
OK, let's get squared away.
OK, listen. The idea is, as a shift NCO, OK, you need to be looking at everything. Don't just focus on one job. So, for instance, you keep an eye on, you've got a Lance Corporal looking after a private there.
Yes, sir. OK, sir.
No, don't keep saying yes sir, no, sir.
OK.
I need you to... No. I need you to do it.
I do get a bit panicky, you know, towards the build-up to the service time because, you know, obviously you've got people above you looking down on you, making sure you're doing your job properly.
Very important that as the shift NCO that he gives direction, communication, we get some respect. If he's the man that's sort of conducting the orchestra, they all need to come in at the right time.
Getting all the dishes up to the hot plate is when the shift officer's timing has to be right on cue.
Will you look after replaying stuff into the ovens, please?
But as service reaches its crescendo, Lance Sergeant Pettit slips out of step.
Yes, yes, yes.
Go and get him.
Corporal Braun, you got Corporal Braun, and when you do repen at the same time.
Right, Tom Pettit, how are we doing?
Doing fine, sir.
Good, OK. Are you all right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yes?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to do everything.
No,
I want
sir.
you to manage it. That's what you're doing as a Land Sergeant, all right?
Yes, sir.
OK.
And if the chef's conductor loses his rhythm, the kitchen goes out of tune.
See what you see, Bert?
Harry has found 200 portions of bubbling brown stew that have been left unchecked.
It's burnt on the bottom, it's caught on the bottom. So you can see it, so we've turned it off. And we need to get this out. Right, young Davis, I need you to get me a couple of pots quickly. On here, and a hand bowl. We need to get this out of here.
Yes, sir.
What I'm actually doing at the moment is I'm taking this out of here without scraping the bottom of the pan. So we don't want to get the burnt bits in there. I think we've caught it just right. Some Pettit!
I just about to come over.
You were just about to come over.
Yes, sir. To have a look, see how that progress is getting on Saturday evening.
Progress, so it's burned.
With hundreds of squaddies to feed on a tight budget, a burnt pan of stew is a casualty they can ill afford. Everything must be accounted for, and in the army, someone is always accountable.
Where's Corporal Francis?
Yes, sir.
Go. Look, I'm a slightly with the old brown stew. Okay, you're starting to flap and starting to panic. Okay, I want you to settle down. I want you to come down off the roof. Okay, and just settle. I want you to just run the place.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, now, and I want you to just sit on his shoulder, not physically. Just chill out. That's not to say I don't want you to do anything. Okay, I just want you to watch how he does it. All right. So this is not a bollocking. All right. This is about trying to get the best out of people. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Any problems?
No, sir.
Good. Well, this afternoon I just want him to stand back a little bit. He'll just stand back with me and try and communicate and delegate more than running around. You know, I mean, in the army, that's what it's about. You know, I mean, delegation, leadership. That's one of the things he's perhaps not portraying at the moment, but we'll work on it.
Make sure the garnish is nice, make sure the steaks are nice, make sure they're not too pink inside.
With Corporal Bill Francis filling the role of the conductor, the kitchen swings back into action.
That is not going up on that hot plate without more salt and pepper.
Let's go, Paul.
And even the nearly ruined brown stew comes back to life.
Just needs a bit of pepper, that. Yeah. That's quite nice. And don't put stuff inside the hot plate unwrapped. If you put it in there, wrap it up.
Meanwhile, Lance Sergeant Marcus Pettit gets a masterclass in conducting the kitchen.
Okay, just stand back and just watch what's going on. Corporal Nelson, what are you on? Veg?
Yes, sir.
Let's start cleaning down, getting rid of the rubbish. Find out what all constable's doing.
Hi, Constable. What are you doing?
Don't go into the detail. Come stand back.
I'm doing mushroom garnish for the steaks.
Good. Okay, so you can see from a distance what's going on. Right, that's what I want you to do.
Yes, sir.
Good. Well done. Good. Good.
Me personally, I find criticism a little bit hard to take. I take away the positive things from it, and the negative things I find hard.
Okay, you're all right. You're not psyched.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Okay, you live for another day.
Okay.
All right, good. Well done.
With the dishes all up on the hot plate, it's time for Major Lomas's inspection.
We've got everybody stood behind the dishes that you've cooked.
We have, sir, yep.
Good. Okay, so who's done what have we got over here then?
Homemade chicken cubes, as per JSP 404.
Who made the calves?
I did, sir.
Good, well done. Nice. Okay, what's this?
Real steak, sir.
Real steak, not a mistake.
No, sir.
Next up, the brown stew.
Is this the one that we burned?
It is, sir.
Right. Should I taste it?
No. I think it was rescued just in time.
You've rescued that just well.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay? You're a magician, not a chef. Okay? You're lucky. All right, gents, ladies, that's quite a nice hot plate. I'm pretty impressed on what you pulled together. Okay? I do enjoy food and just making things, rather than just getting them out of packets and just throwing it up. Would you not agree?
Yeah.
Is it not a bit more fun?
Yes.
You know, I mean, it says it on the tin, chef. That's what you are. So, chef. Okay, gents, ladies, thanks so much indeed.
It's the height of summer, and for the Army chefs, it's one of the busiest times of the year.
All the guards are all lined up in Buckingham Palace. We line all the cups and saucers and spoons up.
As the Army celebrates the Queen's birthday, pomp and ceremony is the order of the day. And for the Army chefs, it's a chance to parade their own skills.
Pretty much an Army chef should be able to pull his hand to anything, from cooking for 300 people, doing a stew, to a big function. For those who want to go on and do well, they've got to push themselves. It's all part of their personal development because it really gives them the confidence of when they're out in the field to really shine.
Over at Cavalry Barracks, Hounslow, Lance Corporal Zara Holderness and Lance Corporal Vicky Fanning are preparing a gourmet buffet for the officers' summer ball. The theme for the evening is London during the Blitz. With only 40 minutes until service, the kitchen experiences a blackout.
Oh my God, now the lights go. No. The grills are up as well.
The lights are back on, but the main circuit ring has blown. All the ovens and hot plates are off.
This could be quite a bad thing. Because what time is it? It's 10 to 7. Services at 7:30.
To finish cooking the dishes, the chefs have to move to another kitchen and fast.
We're going to move all the stuff up to the main kitchen. Just cook it all up there, and then we've got a van. We're going to put them all in these containers, which will keep the heat, and just bring them down.
I think it actually matches the theme, really, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
It may be only 300 yards to the main kitchen, but moving all the food is a logistical nightmare.
These are my oysters and fish, yeah? Got to be dead careful with these, yeah? I'll get containers down there.
The chefs might be competent behind a hot plate, but in a vehicle, this chef would be safer if he had L plates.
Oh my God! Have you got a licence for that?
If driving in reverse wasn't a challenge enough, how many chefs does it take to open a van door?
Parky, how'd you open that?
I didn't open it.
How'd you open it?
Yeah.
Is it open?
You guys got it?
Yeah.
True to the spirit of the Blitz, it's all hands to the pump.
Okay, I'll do the rest of right now.
But 26-year-old Lance Corporal Vicky Fanning is keeping a cool head.
Sometimes these are the best functions where something goes wrong and you work even harder to sort it out, so it'll be good.
So about 20 minutes, guys, yeah? Then we need to start getting it down.
Vicky has forsaken her daughter's first birthday to fulfill her duties.
Got up and sung happy birthday to her, give her a card. But we've not given her a present until next Saturday because that's when we're having the party. So I went home for an hour earlier, give her loads of cuddles and that. But I'm just glad she doesn't understand. But it just shows that, you know, I'm a part of a team and they need me, so that's why I'm here today. Because I enjoy my job also.
In the bunker-designed marquee, the guests are assembling, and the chefs get their dishes onto the buffet table just in time.
Looks all right. Finally. Got here eventually, but the hard way.
With an Indian bar, a Chinese bar, a fish bar, and a hog roast, there's no wartime rationing here.
So far, so good.
But the showcase of the buffet is cooking to order. Lance Corporal Vicky Fanning flambés the seafood meunière, whilst Lance Corporal Zara Holderness flambés the beef in hoisin sauce.
That was good, that was made it. Yeah, did it.
For about a minute, then put your brandy and then tip it.
Stopping your doing it. Actually.
A liberal dash of brandy added to a hot pan, and the combat chefs recreate the heat of the Blitz.
We've got prawns, scallops and cockles. And here we've got oysters, got red snapper with an orange and coriander sauce.
This is spectacular food. It's mega.
I think it was good though that happened really, that all the electric went off. Just because it was a test for us all to work as a team more. But it's worked out really well.
All the ladies look good, all dressed like how they were in the 1940s. And all the men look great. They do. Some people have made a real effort. So it's always good to see.
With the food all served, Vicky Fanning and the rest of the Army chef's job is done. But before they leave to clean up the kitchen, there's a brief word from the commanding officer.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we relax and enjoy the rest of the evening, I think it'd be remiss of me not, on behalf of us all, just to thank the chefs, who I think have been absolutely outstanding. Yeah. The RLC. We had a bit of good news, actually, about one of the chefs. Cole Fanning, where are you? We have some really good news about you, which is that you've been selected for promotion to full corporal, which is fantastic. So well done. All right, brilliant.
Vicky might have missed her daughter's first birthday to cook at the officers' summer ball, but it is news of a promotion that has made it all the more worthwhile.
I'm made up, I really am. I have worked really hard for it.
Me and her have worked as a team up here. She doesn't win, she has to work extra hours. All I can say is she's the best chef I've worked with for a lot of years.
Congratulations.
It's happened. I made up. Sure. Yay!
Next time on Combat Chefs.
I don't like it.
Blood, sweat and tears as Major Lomas whips his troops into shape for the Armed Forces cook-off.
If you ever produce that to me again, you will be wearing it.
Will Harry's rough diamonds beat the best of the Army and Air Force?
This could be the breaking of me.